got to first. Inside the 15. Roberson to the house.
Hello, I'm Robert Roberson. This is my wife,
Jen Roberson, and we have 3 kids, 2 boys and a daughter, and they are all 3 student athletes.
and we kind of just want to give you a rundown of our journey to this point. Cameron was our firstborn. Pretty young, he kind of took the reins of grabbing a ball and just being very active outside all the time. Of course, I played sports in high school. She did sports as well. So we loved the idea of the kids playing sports, but it wasn't like something you have to play sports, you know. It was just something that I was thrilled to see him just as active as he was. And, Cameron actually, we have pictures of him that maybe a year and a half, 2 years old, and he would get the sports page and he would spread it out, and he would just look at it, the pictures or whatever, out of the Bakersfield Californian. And so when we say young, he naturally, for some odd reason, he was attracted, and it was always football for him. Yeah.
And we used to try to get him to play basketball, and I would get him a basketball. He always carried around a football, and he always just focused on football. And he would, 4 or 5 years old, he'd go in the front yard and run back and forth, time himself. So when we say young, naturally it was really young, and nothing that was coached for sure at that age. It was just his love, I guess.
Yeah, he actually didn't really start playing sports. We had him in T-ball young, but he actually really didn't play competitive sports until he was like 6th grade, maybe? No, 6 or 7 years old. 7 years old.
Yeah,
he was young.
Started him young. He started young, so
yeah.
He says a little, not until, but he was, I think, I don't even know, honestly, if he was old enough to play at that time, but they allowed him to play, and he started.
Football.
It was tackle football, and I want to say he was either 6 or 7 years old.
So that kind of started the journey. Once he started playing that, I began to coach. Jason was soon right after him. Like I said, when baseball swung around, the boys played baseball. Jason liked football, but he didn't like the practice part of football.
He didn't love football.
Yeah, he just did it because I believe Cameron was doing it. But baseball was more his spirit. Like he had the temperament for it.
Yeah.
Just real laid back, real even keel. Football is just you're high strung all the time. Go, go, go. That was perfect for Cameron because that's the way he was. So they kind of bounced off each other for a while.
And it was a family affair. We would all, even my daughter, when Cameron started playing football, I think she was maybe 6 months old, when we would all go to the practice, and we would be there the whole time. Jason, our daughter Bree, Cam, Rob, he was the coach. We were all there, and it was like Monday through Friday, and then games on Saturday. Yeah. So it was a commitment that
all day Saturday.
Yeah, all day Saturday. Yeah.
So
it was just a part of our life. We honestly, and
yep.
we miss it sometimes. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And we did want them to be in an environment where college was
always talked about.
Yeah. And it wasn't a question, like, everybody, we didn't ask them. We kind of just made it like, this is what we're going to do. This is how it works. This is, it really wasn't. And we talked about it, college, from young. We never really gave them, people ask us, how did you get them to go to college? It really wasn't a question. It was just, this is what we do. This is what's going to happen. This is how it goes. And we always encourage them to focus on, not so much getting a scholarship. Of course, being student athletes, that's, I guess, the ultimate goal to them is we're going to get a scholarship, or, they were that competitive, but it was never really, I don't know, I guess.
They were going to school no matter what. If we had to pay for it,
we were going to figure it out.
Because that's something we didn't have. We're both not college educated. I didn't have people, even though I was really good in sports, I didn't have someone saying, hey, like, get it together. This can help you here. When high school was over, it was pretty much, okay, now what are you gonna do? And I'm like, yeah, what am I gonna do?
Yeah.
You know, and her as well. She worked real early on. So those are things we, as parents, we're just like, look, our kids are going to college no matter what.
Yeah.
We're gonna get them around people who are actually talking about college and can actually make it happen. It can happen anywhere.
Yeah, and I will say, I mean, talking to many people, even, you know, we've come across a lot of different walks of life through the experience of football and baseball and all of in between. And I know, that school isn't for everyone, but at least it can lead to finding out like what works for them, like whether it be a trade school or whether it be, but just more of a future, like what are you going to do after high, you know, because it's
important.
It's important. And just to have the support of so many, and that's kind of how we are G.A.M.E, you know, us being introduced to Ellen and to Joyce and Kevin Keys, he's a part of it, who I used to babysit for, so I know him personally, but coming to terms with that whole We Are G.A.M.E, not terms, but the introduction of their program and what they were about, it was like, wow, this is, you know, there's so much, there's a village, I always say, and the bigger the village and the more people that you interact with and that have input, because honestly, our kids, we couldn't have done all of, you know, we can't even take full credit for, you know, their full success or, you know, because there's been so many people involved in their life, you know, but it did lead to starting off with, you know, high school and the people we met there and the growth that they had from, you know, the transition from public school to private school. And that was a whole nother.
That was a whole nother issue.
That was a whole nother, you know, just experience, we'll say. And great experience, you know, but it's just, there's just so many people that impact and that I always cherish. Like everybody who has had something to give our kids advice, we're willing. We're like, yes, please, you know, talk to them about it. You know, because it's all the experiences that people have that impact our kids and teach them things that we don't even know, you know, so.
Yeah, we're blessed to, I don't know if we can speak about We're G.A.M.E, but we were blessed to be introduced to Alan and those guys. Yeah. And of course, like anyone, where you first meet strangers, even though we knew Kevin personally, you just want to, you're as a human, you're taken back just like, okay, now what's going on here? Like, you know, after he introduced himself and he let us know what the program was about, you just think about it, try to, you know, make sure everyone's on the up and up. You know, human nature is just, oh, what does these guys want? But man, it was such a blessing, such a blessing. And if I could speak to anyone that's thinking about, you know, help, you need help. Yeah. You need help. I mean, we had all the help. Yeah. And student athletes are different from regular students because they do have so much on their plate. And I love it. I love it. And we all talk about it all the time. It's good because it limits the amount of time they have to get in trouble. You know, there's so much on their plate. And so balancing schoolwork, practice time, and all the social involvements, it's tough. You know, there's many a times where Jason traveled so much at a young age, we were always in a different county, state, city. Every weekend we were somewhere. So he was missing friends' birthdays, he was missing barbecues, you know, stuff they're planning all week at school, he's missing out on the weekend. So people will come to us all the time like, man, you guys should let these kids be kids.
Yeah.
You're missing out. But there was never a time, and I think this is a hard part for people. There was never a time where we forced them to do anything. It was always like we got into travel ball late.
Yeah.
Compared to a lot of people, because we felt that he wasn't ready to take it serious.
Right.
You know, why throw all this money at something that he's just still wanting to be a kid, you know? But once he started saying, hey, I want to, you know, I play with this group of kids, they're so good, I want to start getting lessons or getting better, we're like, all right, well, I mean, you know what kind of time this is going to demand of you. It's going to take a lot of practice, you know, to get where those kids are. They've been
Commitment,
playing a commitment.
too, yeah.
That's a better word. So he was ready, and we kind of went from there, and he just kind of just led with the reins. But you know, there were times where we're like, no, we're committed to be here. You're gonna have to miss that. You know, I'm sorry, but you know, and those are things. So now that he's playing pro, people always want to come up to him, you know, even in high school, it's like, oh, you make this look so easy. You know, it's, you were born with this special talent. No, you know, remind people how many hours and how much time you put into your craft. You know, it's hard for people to see at 9 years old, you doing all this traveling and, you know, doing all this playing when your friends are having fun, playing the game. You put a lot of hours of time in your craft. Cameron as well. So I remind them a lot of that, you know, so they don't think they're just born with this. Yeah, you were blessed with some talent. You were blessed, but you had to do your part as well.
Right.
And also, you know, you're not getting into college. I don't care how good you are physically, if you don't do your grade work. And that was all the thing. Like, if you don't do this, you can't play Division I football, you can't play Division I baseball. They're not even, I mean, they're not gonna allow you, you know, there's rules to that. And so, you know, that all played a part. So we're thankful for that. And I can say Alan and Joyce had a big part to do with that. You know, they taught them how time management. As they got into high school, they taught them, they gave them classes on how to speak to the media. What to do, what not to do on the internet. You know, that was all new to us coming, you know, when the kids were in junior high. Yeah. That became a whole nother issue.
Let me tell them a funny story. When the very first, and this is just going back to the We Are Game introduction, it was the first time that we were taking them over to the camp, right? And it was a Friday. We dropped them off. We had to drop them off on a Friday.
They're the youngest kids.
Yeah, they're the youngest. Cameron was a freshman, right? And Jason was in 8th grade.
Of the group at the time. Alan deals with a lot younger kids now, but at that time, Cameron and Jason were one of the youngest pair up there. So
So we drove them up on a Friday, and it was up in the mountains, and we didn't know what to expect. The Oaks, yeah, we didn't know what to expect. And so as we're driving, I mean, we felt really bad because we didn't know. They didn't want to go.
The boys did not want to go.
One thing Cameron does not like, I guess any kid really, but he just they were not wanting to go. And so Rob was feeling so bad. I mean, and they didn't have no phones. It was like, we didn't know what to expect. And then after we drove home, after we dropped them off, and we were thinking, gosh, they're, you know, how are they? You know, we couldn't even talk to them. But come Sunday, I kid you not, that experience changed Jason, who was more shy, more just reserved. I mean, they did like communications where they had to speak in front of people, and they had to, and he was never the same. I mean, he changed for the better from that one experience.
Yeah.
Like that one weekend that we were so scared to take him to because, you know, not knowing, they didn't want to go.
And we weren't scared because we were scared for them because they were going to have this bad experience. And then we couldn't speak to them. So in our heads, we're like, oh, they're being tortured. They're probably just having, crying in their rooms, you know. We're making all these movies up in our head.
Yeah.
And then when we finally talk to them, this is the best
Yeah, they
ever.
said that experience.
And so we always draw that, even to this day,
Yeah.
them being 21, 22, when there's things that are put on their plate that they don't want to do, we'll bring that up. Like, hey, remember
how
you guys
felt?
just dreaded that Oaks thing, and you guys just, oh, it's just gonna be terrible. You're not speaking to us, and all of this, right? It was so quiet on the ride over there. They were mad, and so we always bring that up, like, and it worked out perfect.
Yeah.
Right? So that changes them even to be more open-minded with things, you know.
Yeah.
Cameron still has issues with things that aren't planned out. He loves to know exactly what's gonna happen in a day, and I'm that way as well.
They're not spontaneous people.
Well, he's not. Jason is.
Yeah, no, Jason is, we're going to the beach. I'm like, Jay, when did you decide that? Just right now? I mean, we're gonna take a drive. You know, it's just, they're just different.
But they draw back on those experiences to really navigate their lives now. And it's been a whirlwind. It's been an adventure, a fun adventure.
Yeah.
You know, and we're still going through it. You know, there's things, when they got to college, it was, it was totally, you know, we shipped Cameron off to the East Coast.
He had 1 week. We had 1 week to prepare him. We went to visit the school, University of Massachusetts, and he committed on the trip. And then come to find out later, he cried in his room after doing that, because he was like, what did I just do? What did I just do? Cameron loves
home.
Family. He loves home.
He loves the comforts of home.
But that's where I say I want them to go, because I feel like comfort is there's no growth. You know, sometimes you have to put yourself in uncomfortable situations in order to grow, you know, and that now, I mean, and I'm the mom that was like a worry wart, you know, and so now my faith is a lot stronger, and I don't live like that now. I live more so that they're going to be fine. They're going to, you know, get through this. But when Cameron committed and we had 1 week to ship him off, that was probably, and I'll be honest, shipping him off was probably the hardest thing I've ever done in my life.
Well, sending a kid off to school anyways is tough. You know, when you just you feel like you're losing control over the day-to-day things when they're, especially that far away. That's where the village thing comes into work too, because you know, Alan had people that lived over there checking on him, and they would check on him, and you know, it was so many eyes on him. I felt like he was still in the room, you know, in the back room, even though he was way across country. But it did him a lot of good. It helped him grow up, helped him become a young man. Looking back at, because now Cameron coaches Frostsoft football at Highland. I help him call games sometimes. He's a communication major, so they let him do PA announcement for the high school games. I'm his spotter. So if I can say anything to anyone about going through that journey, enjoy it, because it goes like that. And you know, all of the travel, and we made it fun. Like, yeah, we traveled a lot and we missed out on a lot. I mean, we're in Vegas during Christmas, Thanksgiving, you know, those are times we're normally with family. We're over here playing football and tournaments and baseball. So we just made those little trips, vacations, where we would pick out areas. Where are we going? Okay, so what's going on? We'll spend a day doing this, or, you know, Brianna, pick where you want to eat. We just kind of try to make it fun, but enjoy sports. We were so wrapped up in sports and competing and winning. We really didn't get to enjoy them just being out there having fun. And we did, but we didn't. Like, the games, I was like stressed. From all game day, I'm at work just like, oh, my stomach's hurting, I'm twirling my fingers, and we gotta make sure we gotta do this. At the game, we're filming the games, we're yelling, screaming for 3 hours. and then we're home, we watch more film, watch the news, and then we're out, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like now.
And then you do it again the next weekend.
But I'm glad I went through that, because now Brianna, that plays volleyball, I love it. I'm there. Cameron, it drives him nuts. He's
Cameron, yeah.
screaming, and I'm like,
But we're more chill. We're more
we've been there,
enjoying
done
it.
that,
Yeah.
you know. And if I can go back, I would enjoy every moment. Not that I didn't. I don't want to say that, and you think, oh, they're not. It's just a different enjoyment, you know, seeing your child out there running, playing, having fun. I would do that more.
You know, we're still on question 1. No, I'm just kidding. We're on question 1.
She's like, what questions?
You know you gotta climb higher.